Hello, my crafty friends. Hello, hello. It is Saturday afternoon and welcome to this month's Craft Along. Yay! It's lovely to see we've already got lots of people here. That's very exciting. Can everyone hear me okay? That's the first thing to check. It looks all right from my end, but I just need to know from you guys that you can hear me all right. So if anyone could just answer and tell me, that would be awesome. How are we all? It's a beautiful warm afternoon here. I'm not sure how warm, but it's not bad. It's a beautiful day. Okay, I'm not seeing anybody. Yes, you can. Yay. Good. Thank you. That's awesome. All right, so this month we are doing vellum techniques. Now this is by request. I did check with my, I was chatting to one of my, either my Friday night or my Sunday night watchers. I can't remember which one. And we were chatting about what would be a good craft along topic. And the topic of vellum techniques has come up a couple of times. And so we're going with that. And I have done some beautiful projects for you this month. I'm very, very excited to share them with you. So I've got a whole bunch of alternate cards, but today we're doing one card here on this video. I expect it to take us around about an hour between chatting and answering questions and all that kind of stuff. Hello. Thank you for saying hello, everyone. That's lovely. So we're going to be making a card. It's a Z-fold card, and some of you may have already received the packet in the mail. This is the supply pack that you would have got full of all the little goodies to make up today's project. Now, if you got one of these, you got it because you placed an order with me last month. So if you place an order of $60 or more with me in any month, the following month, you get the pack of supplies to make the following month's tutorial project. So Craft Along is happening every month. I've been doing this now for about 6 months this way. Before that, I ran online classes, which were a little bit different. But at the moment, we are doing it this way because I have found this works for my schedule and it seems to work for other people too. So hello. I see everyone's from all over the place. We've got Texas, Canada. We've got Melbourne. Where are we? Indiana, Arizona. Everyone's all over the place. I do find that this is 2 p.m. Sydney time. I'm about 90 minutes north of Sydney, but same time zone. And I find that this time works very well for some of my overseas watchers. So it's good for my local girls because it's 2 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. If you don't have anything on, that's kind of good. But it also works well for the girls who are, this is probably evening over in the US. I'm not sure exactly what time, but you guys can tell me that. So it's a time that works for a lot of people. Probably less so for our European girls. It's very, very early morning over there, so maybe it doesn't work as well for them unless they're having trouble sleeping or something like that. Maybe I can help put you to sleep. 8 p.m. Colorado, says Janine. That's awesome, and that's what we call mountain time. They call that mountain time. Then you've got Eastern, Central, Mountain Time, Pacific. Have I missed any? Is that all the time zones in the US? I'm slowly getting used to them. Oh, Broken Hill. That's a long way out. I love your name, Leslie's Outback Stamping. That's very cool. Perfect for Broken Hill. Oh, you're on South Australian time. Okay, so you're half an hour behind us. Yes. Australia has, just like the US, a number of time zones. And then we also have some states that do daylight saving and a couple that don't, which throws everything right out the window. It is beautiful weather, Kelly. It's lovely today. It's gorgeous. You're on mountain time too, Gina. So 8 p.m. for you. Yeah, good time. Good time to watch live. And I know when I go live at 7:30 at night, which works well for my local girls, that doesn't work so well for the girls overseas because it's usually sometime after midnight over there. So we have to we make the best of it. But by offering a few different times that I go live, I'm hoping I can include more people. So those of you who got one of these, and that means you ordered last month from me, at the end of this video, you will also be able to get the additional tutorials for the alternate projects that I'm going to show you. So that means if you ordered last month, $60 or more, you're going to get those sent to you completely free as well as my gift to you. If you're in my team, and I notice we've got a few team members watching today. Hi, Nairi. Hi, Marie. Who else did I see? I did see, oh, Sunny's here. So we've got a few of the local girls from my team. Hey, Janet. Hi. So if you're in the team, you get this automatically. You not only get you get the access to the PDF measurements and all the other tutorials as well sent to you. There's a PDF document that's got all the links to the different videos in it. Okay, so that's how that works. Now, if you didn't get any of these, if you're either overseas so you can't order or be in my team, or for whatever reason, maybe you're a demonstrator in another team, or who knows, it could be any number of reasons why last month wasn't a month for you. You can purchase these additional tutorials. Okay, so I have put together a blog post. As soon as I finish this video, I'm going to hit the publish button on that blog post, which means you'll be able to go over there and get it straight away. So if that's something that interests you, I'll show you the cards and you can decide whether or not it's for you. Anyway, let's switch over to the desk. I'm going to bring my camera around. Let's have a little look here and see if that's straight. Not quite straight. Let's make it straighter. I'm going to hit the button that moves it over. See, I told you it wasn't straight. There you go. And here's our card. This is the card we're making today. All right. Now, the whole purpose of this card and what we're doing today, this is Vellum techniques. So in this card, I'm going to be talking a lot about Vellum. I'm going to be giving you some tips and some ideas. Hands up if you find Vellum a tricky paper to work with. Anybody? Does anyone else feel like that? So Arizona doesn't do daylight saving either. Well, Queensland doesn't do daylight saving. They're to the north of us. And Western Australia, right over on the other side of the country, they don't do daylight saving either. So normally Western Australia or Perth is 2 hours behind us. And in the summer months, they're 3 hours behind us because they do not do daylight saving and we do. So, and in Queensland, the same thing. They had a referendum up there, a little vote to decide whether to go on to daylight saving or not, and they decided they didn't want to. So, if you live anywhere near the border, you missed out on your, missed the post office or missed your favourite shops, you can skip across the border and you get another hour. So, that's kind of a cool thing for the people who live. Janet, have you ever done that, being up at the Northern Rivers? You might have done that. So, I know lots of people have. Hello. All right. So here we go. This is the card we're going to make. Now, it is a Z fold card, right? Which means when it opens like this. All right. So you can see this is the reason it's called a Z fold card, because it kind of looks like a Z. It's a very simple one. Okay. Oh, what's that? Elizabeth is saying, when I emboss the vellum, my white embossed image has flaked some. That's interesting. I wonder what's changed. One of the videos that I've included in addition to this one does show you embossing on vellum. So maybe that'll have some tips for you in there. I'm not quite sure. Yes. Oh, you're actually in Tugra. Are you doing your shopping, Nairi, are you? Coffee time. Yep, that's important. Stick with that, and you can always watch the replay later. So there we go. All right, so this is the card. All right, and it is, like I said, a very simple card. Nothing all that amazing about the card itself, but it's funny whenever we throw a special fold, so you can see it's just a little bit of a different fold. As soon as you do that, everyone goes, wow, that's a great card. So I find I get a lot of mileage out of using the odd special fold card because everyone seems to like them. So some people in Australia feel the same way. I actually really, maybe I'm in the minority. I actually really like daylight saving. I've always enjoyed it, especially when I was younger and I wasn't a parent and trying to juggle a million things. And I used to, finish work and then I could go to the beach or I could go and do something, something energetic in the evenings. I don't really get time for that anymore, but once upon a time, I remember really loving that. So there we go. Oh, you have done that. Yeah, I bet you have, Janet. All right. Okay. So let's get started. If you have the supply pack, the measurements for this card, all the bits and pieces are in the PDF document that will be coming to you if you've got one of these. And if you wish to purchase it, you certainly can. So all the measurements are there and they're in both metric and imperial. Okay. I really hope I got the imperial measurements correct. If ever I don't get something correct, sometimes the problem is it doesn't translate well because A4, which is the metric cardstock, and letter, which is the US, Canadian, North American cardstock, are not the same size, okay, which really complicates things and makes it difficult. In the US, your paper is shorter than ours, but wider. So it's you get more of a square card, okay? Whereas our size here, it's longer and it's also narrower. So it's kind of interesting. And when it comes to, like if it was the same size paper, I could just translate straight from centimeters to inches. It would be easy, but it's not easy because you've got to actually accommodate for the difference in sizing. So there we go. All right. So I've got my base piece here. Now this is half a sheet of A4 cardstock. So the cardstock was originally out to here. I cut it halfway down the middle, which is at the 14.8 centimeter mark, and then that piece is ready to go. Same with the US letter cardstock. You'll be cutting it exactly in half so you have the card base size. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to fold over our paper. I'm going to grab a bone folder, and that's ready to go. Okay, now for this fancy fold card, sometimes I score cards when I send them out in the supply pack, like it's, you know, if it's a special fold, quite often it will be scored, but because this one is so simple, I didn't even bother scoring it. And all we are going to do is we're going to take the top layer, the top there, and we're going to fold it back on itself, so these corners are meeting up with the center of the card there. So you're just going to push that down. I'm going to once again use a bone folder. And that's my Z fold. See how easy that was to do? Very, very simple. Hey, Glenda. Exactly. It is, Nicole. I agree. And you're in WA. So how do you feel about having no daylight saving? All right. So you can see I've got my pieces. Now, I have measured all the pieces. I'm going to do the inside first and then we'll work on the front. I have a piece of black. And I have a piece of DSP. Now, this is from the Delicate Desert 12 by 12 paper, which is in the mini catalogue. So let me quickly show it to you because it is very, very beautiful. And I think it's the kind of paper that maybe some people have not really paid attention to, but it's lovely. It's this here. Okay, and it's very soft colors, but there's the strongest color in it is the Cajun Craze, and then the soft succulent is like the light green, which is what I've used in my card. Okay, then also because it coordinates so beautifully with this, I'm using the dry brushed metallic paper on the same page. This is my favorite paper in this catalog. I just love it. I've used it on everything and everywhere I possibly can. It is just beautiful. On this card, you can see I've got it on this panel here. Can you see that beautiful shiny paper? It is just divine. Okay, and then this piece of green, this one right here, is what I've used behind here. Okay, on the black panel. So let's put that together. This is going to get glued. You can use seal, you can use Tombow, whatever you like. Most of the adhering we're going to do today, we're going to be using glue dots. Let me pull them down so you can see. We're going to be using Tombow, and we will also be using some dimensionals. And I've got both my white and my black dimensionals out because I find black is really great when you're working with black. But that's just, it's a personal preference. No one's really going to see it, so it doesn't really matter if you use the white. But if you have the black, go ahead and use them. You might as well. So let's put some, also if you have seal adhesive or tape, that is also fine for doing this step of it, because all you're doing is putting this piece of DSP right into the center of your black cardstock. So I'm just going to, the reason I prefer to use Tombow more often than I use any other when I'm putting paper onto a cardstock piece like this is because it is great for helping you reposition. So if you put it down in slightly the wrong spot, because this is a liquid glue, before it dries, you can actually move it with your fingers and get it into a better position. Whereas, of course, with tape or seal, once it's down, it's down. It's not going anywhere, right? It is really beautiful paper, isn't it? I just think it's lovely. Oh, no daylight saving's a pain. There you go. Yes. So, right, of course. So Nicole's just saying the whole daylight saving thing is a problem for her because Western Australia is normally 2 hours behind us. That means the eastern states, all their businesses are open a couple of hours before they are over there in Perth. And so Nicole has to go into to work early to deal with them. But then in summer, they're 3 hours behind. So you're saying you have to start work before 7 just to deal with eastern states businesses. I feel for you. I do. I get that because it's a pain in the bottom, isn't it? I get it. All right. So then this piece is going to end up in here. Also in your little supply pack, I have cut you a piece of, where is it? A stitched rectangle. Okay, you'll find the stitched rectangle. You should be able to see the stitching around the edges of the rectangle there. And that's going to get positioned in the middle of this. So I'll go ahead and glue that on. And you don't put it on dimensionals or anything because it's the inside of your card, so it's good for it to sit flat. So I'm just going to pop some glue on the back of that. And I'm going to position this in the center. And once again, I'm using Tombow so I can kind of move it into exactly the right position. So I'm trying to make sure I've got the same amount here on either side and the same amount top and bottom. I suppose I could measure everything to get it perfect, but I've never been one to do that. For me, that just seems to take all the fun out of it. I'd just rather position it and go by eye. And normally I'm okay with that. Now this piece is going to go in the center of the soft succulent, so there'll be the same amount of green showing around the edges of the black. So I'm going to do the same with this. So I'm going to add some glue. The other thing that I like about Tombow is when I'm working on a dark color, it's really easy to see what I'm doing. So you can definitely see that on the black. All right, so let's pop this here. And I'm just going to make sure that that's centered. Pretty good. You can see it sliding around a little bit. That's fine, just move it. And then once you've got it in the right position, give it a good old push so that it's really going to get good contact and it will stick. Okay, Tombow is actually a really strong glue. Now I didn't worry about putting anything on this piece here, but we're going to be decorating this panel that is folded over. Okay, so this is for the front. Now the first thing I have here is a piece of black, and you can see that piece of black fits. The measurements are in your PDF. The piece of black fits right there in the center of the card. Okay, so if you're wondering what these measurements are, okay, I am going to quickly tell you for those of you who don't have the PDF or don't wish to purchase it. This is 10, this measurement across here is 10 centimeters wide. I believe if for your imperial measurements, that will be 4 inches. Okay, and this measurement here from top to bottom is 14.3. And then the DSP paper here is half a centimeter smaller, so 9.5 this way across here, and 13.8 from top to bottom. All right, so hopefully that will help. I hope that helps somebody. Does that make sense? It is very beautiful, very soft, exactly. Yeah, you could use this as wallpaper, couldn't you? Don't you agree? I think you're right. That's really, really a good way to think of it. It does look like an old wallpaper. All right, so this piece here, this is the same length as the black piece at the back, so it's 14.3 again. And then the measurement, I'm just actually going to look at it quickly because I did this on the PDF and I don't want to misquote you. So I want to make sure I'm telling you the right thing. Where are we? So, so the basic black piece is 4.7 centimeters wide by 14.3 long. And if you're looking for that measurement in inches, that is 1 7/8 wide by just a little bit under 2 inches, and then 5 1/4 long. Okay, so hopefully that gives you, and then once again, I've gone down a little bit smaller with my DSP. So it fits just there inside of that piece. Can you see that? All right, so I'm going to grab my Tombow again, using it a lot, I know, and I'm going to position that. I know some of you like to just watch when we do these videos and then maybe come back and watch the replay and do it later, and that's completely fine. Don't feel like you have to craft along if you don't want to. I think that works well for some people to watch first and then come back and watch the replay again. But at least you've got all your pieces there if you have a pack. All right, so how gorgeous is this dry brush paper? Isn't that just stunning? I love it. It's my favorite. Just beautiful. All right, so this piece is going to go right there in the center of this folded panel on the front of the card. So we might as well just pop that straight down now. And once again, go back to whatever glue you like to use. And I'm going to position that on. Am I going too fast for anyone? Is everyone okay, able to keep up all right with me? I know I chat a bit, so sometimes I think the chatting time is good for catch-up time for anyone who might be feeling like they're behind. All right. So I'm just going to push that down until it makes good contact. Yeah, it is beautiful. Absolutely stunning. All right, so our card is looking like this now. So what we need to do now is to build this piece. We haven't even used any vellum yet. The first thing I'm going to do is I've got my black piece here. All right, now the black piece, let me quickly tell you the measurements for this. All right, if you're doing inches, it's 3 inches by 4 1/4. Okay, so 3 inches this way, 4 1/4 this way. If you're doing centimeters, it is 7 1/2 by 11. Okay, and then we're going to go down 1/2 centimeter each time. So this one is going to be 10 1/2 by 7. Okay, so if you're, it's 1/2 centimeter each time you go down. If you're using imperial, then you're going to go down 1/4 inch each time, which is very similar. All right, just going to position that right there. So now we have a nice little black bordered piece of white. And now we get up to the fun stuff, right? So I've got this ready to go on. It's going to go right about here. And when we do put this on, what I'll be doing is lining it up with this piece at the back, because it's, as you can see, it's quite a similar size. It's a little bit wider, but a little bit longer. So what you want to do is you want to have it so it covers that white piece at the back, and that's going to be the right position for it. Okay, so just so you know, when we get to that, that's what we're going to do. I have here a piece of vellum. I have embossed it through my embossing folder. The quatrefoil embossing folder is the one I've used. All right, let me just quickly show you a couple of things. First of all, this lovely swirly die that I've got here, and you can see we've got a black swirl. It's a label with swirly edges. This is from the Painted Labels set. Okay, and that's on page 172 of your annual catalogue. And if anyone has any questions, just stop me, and or sometimes I miss the questions if I'm busy crafting. So just ask, and I will try and make sure I do answer. If I don't find your question during the live, I will try and get back to you at the end. Okay, so this Painted Label set, this has been around for a couple of years. It matches the Poppies set. What's it called? Painted Poppies. This one. Right, this is the one that it goes with. All right, and there's these 2 poppies that cut out with these 2 dies, and then there's some beautiful labels, there's some leaves. Really useful set. Okay, I have used this one a lot. Here in Australia, this retails for $61, but just so you know, this is the one that I've used to get that swirly one. I love it. And then the actual labels that I use, so I have actually stamped on this piece of vellum, and I've also got a piece of white vellum. These are from the Stylish Shapes dies, and if you turn the page, you'll find those on 175. They're up here, $53. In my opinion, these are the most useful dies we have. I mean, I think we have a lot of fabulous dies. One of the cards in my tutorials, I use the scallop contours, and I use those a lot too. But there's something, if anyone ever asks me, if I'm new to die cutting, what should I get first? My answer will be the Stylish Shapes, because there are 6 circles, 5 squares, and 4 banners. Okay, absolutely fantastic. So good, and you can just do so much with them. They're very, very versatile, fantastic for adding sentiments and all sorts of things on your projects. So, oh, thank you. I'm glad that you like it, Betty. Thank you very much. Oh no, that's no good, Colleen. That's all right. You can always watch the replay if you can't watch live. Totally understand. So, oh yeah, Marie. You and Katrina are not that far apart. Marie's in my team, Katrina, so there you go. All right, so I've got this one and it's embossed with the quatrefoil embossing folder. I'll quickly show you that embossing folder. All the embossing folders are on page 176 and 177, and this is the quatrefoil one. It is not a 3D folder. It is just the standard folder, but it is a 6-inch one, 6 by 6 or 6, I think it's 6 1/4. So it's the big square ones, and so they don't go through the mini cut and emboss machine. They only go through the big one. Okay, just so you know that. But I do really love the design that it makes. Okay, and it's a pretty soft design. It doesn't have straight lines at the edge, so it's not going to cut through like some of them will. I've put some information into the video for the dry embossing. I call this dry embossing as opposed to heat embossing. I've put some information into the alternate card where I show you how to do this, and we talk about what types of folders and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully that'll be something that you'll find useful. All right, so what I'm going to be doing, this is going to end up on here. All right, but right now you can see it's very nice, and the embossing is lovely. I don't know if, let me just grab something. Actually, let me just grab a piece of black cardstock because I want to show you something. Right, so when I put this on the black, I hope that you can see this. What embossing does to vellum is it makes the ridges or the actual embossed design, it kind of stretches the vellum and it makes it go white. It's quite striking. Okay, it's very, it's really interesting, very striking paper. And I love the way that vellum responds to an embossing folder. It just looks lovely. Now, this is not a 3D one. The 3D ones, in my opinion, that's amplified because they give you deeper ridges, so the white is whiter and the design is really striking. The only thing you have to be careful is that because vellum is such a soft cardstock, and it's a little, I wouldn't say it's fragile, especially the cardstock, because ours is quite a heavy weight, but it is certainly more delicate than your regular cardstock. So you have to be careful on some with 3D embossing folders. If you've got, and this is what I talk about in the alternate video, if you've got lines near the corners, sometimes they can go all the way through. So just be aware of that. But like I said, I'll talk more about that in that other video. But what I want to do to make this a little bit more striking is I want to color it. So I've got a blending brush here. And if you have a blending brush in your collection and you have this, you may want to do this. I think it's lovely to color it. Soft Succulent is the strongest color in our card. So you could, if you wanted to, go a little darker and go up to Evening Evergreen. That's going to give you a slightly more dramatic effect. But just bear in mind that although that darker color will stand out more against these greens, it won't stand out as much against the black because it's a darker color. Okay, so just something to bear in mind. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get my blending brush. I'm going to pick up some ink with my blending brush just by rubbing it right there on the surface, and I'm going to turn it over to the reverse. Now you could do this on the front and that would still look great, but then it's possible that some of this, because vellum is not as porous as regular cardstock, so some may sit on the top and may rub off. So I prefer to actually do my coloring on the reverse of the vellum. Okay, hey from Harvey Bay, nice to see you. So I'm just going to go in little circles over the back. And all I'm doing here is, because vellum is a translucent or semi-opaque substance, any color you put on the back is going to show through. Now, it won't be as dark on the front as it is on the back. You can see it's lighter. All right. And when I'm finished, I will show you. So don't be afraid to do things to vellum. Don't be afraid to emboss it. Don't be afraid of both heat emboss and dry emboss. Don't be afraid to add color. There's a number of things that you can do that make vellum just give you a beautiful effect. It's very soft. And I guess that's what I love about vellum, is the fact that it softens everything. So you will often see me, those girls who watch me on a regular basis will know that I often use a vellum layer behind something else. So for example, I will use a vellum layer. Let me think. Actually, have I got one handy? I might have one handy. Of course, they're on the other side of the room right now, but I don't want you to have to wait for me. But yeah, I will. So for example, if I was stamping on this for a sentiment, I could put another layer behind it, either a circle or another shape made from vellum, because it softens it. Okay, it just makes it look really beautiful. Oh, that's okay, Sharon. There's never too late. Never, ever. You can always watch the replay anyway. And a lot of people I know have other things on a Saturday afternoon that they need to do. All right, so I'm trying to build up a fair amount of color here. And then what we'll be doing is turning over to get a softer, but all right, can you see on the back there? But then that could rub off a little if it was facing to the top. But if you turn it over, you still have the white design appearing on the green. Okay, now we need to think, when we do this, we need to think about what color is going to go behind. In this case, we're going with white. All right, now white is going to give you the truest color possible. All right, but if you put it on another color, isn't it beautiful? If you put it on another color, for example, if I decide I'm going to put it on to soft succulent, it's still beautiful, but it's not as, you don't get as much, you lose some of the green. Okay, whereas if I put it on here, you can see the green really pops out. If I put it on black, it's going to go a little grayer. It looks okay, still looks good, you could still use it, but it's going to give you a different effect. All right, so I'm going to be using mine on white. And that, of course, brings us to the next challenge when it comes to vellum. How are we going to attach this? A couple of ways that I like to do my attaching, and it is totally up to you. If you find this is something that you like to do as well, then you certainly can. One of the ways I like to do this is by using a sponge, all right, and some Tombow. So I have got, oh, I didn't bring my, you know what, I cleaned up my silicone mat so it looked really pretty for this video, and then I forgot to bring it over, so we're going to use the not so clean one, but that's okay, it doesn't matter, it's still gonna achieve the same result. You just have to forgive me for that. All right, so I'm going to push some of my Tombow out onto my silicone mat. Silicone mats are a fantastic thing to have. If you don't have one, at least grab one, if not more than one, because for a small amount of money, they are a super duper handy thing to have. You can put glue on them. They don't, you can work on them to do different techniques. They resist heat. Glue doesn't really stick to them. And this is a really great way to use this. All right, so I'm going to get my sponge and kind of move it around on there. So I've now got glue all over the end of my sponge. All right, I'm going to tape to the back of my vellum, making sure that I am using the back. And I'm going to put my glue all over. And that wasn't quite enough. I'll need a little bit more. Because vellum is less porous too, glue doesn't dry as quickly on it as it would on regular cardstock. So, and it's getting quite sticky now. All right, so this is something that we can do. The other thing you can do is add glue dots. All right, so I might as well use the rest of it up, hey. So have other people done this before? Hi, Ingrid. Okay, all right, so this will stick. All right, now you notice also I have a big fat label here, all right, which means that's going to go right about there somewhere. So if I wanted to, I could also put a couple of like glue dots right there underneath to secure it. That's another thing I could do. So you look to see where your bits and pieces are, but this has got enough stick on it now. And because we applied it very thinly with a sponge, it doesn't show through. So it's actually a really great way to add vellum and give you a good stick without it's not visible. So that's really great. Hey, Leonie, nice to see you. All right, so that's what we're starting with. Now, in your packs, I've given you a piece of fine shimmer paper. When I made this card originally, I used the green, the soft succulent. But then when I was sending it out, I decided to use the gold. So yours will look a tiny bit different to mine. It'll look like this one I'm about to make. So now, how far up from the bottom? Just over an inch, just over, which is what, 2 2.5-ish centimeters up from the bottom, and I'm actually going to wax them. Doesn't matter what glue you use, any glue is fine, completely fine. And I'm just going to pop that. This is the same width as the vellum piece, so I think when I was measuring, when I was looking at the measurements for the little gold piece, how much did I'm just looking to see. This is called Fine Shimmer, and you can use either the soft succulent or the gold. Both of them look really good. It's 6.5 centimeters across by 1.9 centimeters, or if you're doing it in Imperial, it is 1/2 inch by 4 inches. Okay, so just to give you a bit of an idea. Actually, I don't think it is 4 inches. I don't think that's right. I think that's incorrect. I'm just looking now. There you go. I found a mistake in my PDF. Whoops. I better fix that. All right. So anyway, that piece is there. Now we're going to use this little guy. And I've got this is the Stylish Shapes dies, one of the circles. And I've used one that just took me to the very edge of this black piece. So I had these lovely swirly pieces peeking out from behind. I thought that was really nice. And then you could just put your sentiment on that, okay, no problems. But because this is a vellum class, I thought, well, let's just stamp on it in vellum. Okay, now let's talk about stamping on vellum. If you are going to stamp on vellum and work with it straight away, you probably want to use Stays On, because part of the problem is if you can use Memento, but it takes quite a while to dry because it's a water-based ink. So it is quite likely, if you're working with it, that it could get smudged before it's properly dry. So if you want to avoid that, use Stays On. And I have the this set is called the Desert Details, and so I went with this one right here. If you wanted, you can have any sentiment in here you like. You don't have to have mine. That one says you are what sunshine feels like. And to be honest, I used this sentiment more because it was the right shape for my circle. But you can put a happy birthday on there. You can put whatever you would like. I'm just going to use this one in this case. And I'm going to pop it on a block. Block C, I think. No, block B. There we go. That's fine. If you do use Memento, that's okay. But just bear in mind it will take a little while to dry. You could hit it with a heat tool to speed that up if you wanted to. But just bear that in mind, that it could be a little difficult. Whereas Stays On dries straight away. So it's really, really easy. All right, let me... Oops, I just realized I'm not looking at comments at the moment. Oh, Nanaimo, that's a beautiful place. I've been there, you know, many years ago, back in 1993. I'm dating myself, I know. Myself and my BFF traveled across Canada, and for 6 weeks, we had 6 absolutely fabulous, magical weeks where we just traveled across Canada and all modes of transport, went to some beautiful places and saw wonderful, wonderful things. And we spent quite a few days on Vancouver Island. So to Victoria, and then we went up to Nanaimo one side, and then we went part of the way up the other side, which was very wild, and it felt very brave at the time. All right, so you could have coloured this first, or you can colour it after. Because I've used Stays On, and I just did this. I've still got some ink on here. I just did this to give a little bit of colour, so it kind of looks. Now you could also do this on the white if you wanted to, and then stick your piece over. And because, okay, so I've just got, when you put that there, you can see a bit of that green. Looks nice, doesn't it? So we could stick this with glue dots. And if I was going to stick it with glue dots, I'd be trying to hide the glue dots behind the writing. Okay, that's what I would do. But the other alternative is we can go back to our silicone mat here, and I'm going to add a little bit more glue to my sponge, and I'm going to attach it. You don't need much this time because it's only a small area, and I'm going over the back. All right, there we go. It's just sort of, you get a little bit of that color coming through. Ah, Carolyn's your upline. There you go. All right, I'm going to pop some couple of dimensionals behind this. 1 and 2 and 3, I think. This size circle, I usually go with 3. And let's get rid of the backs. Oh, you're certainly very welcome, Leonie. No problems at all. All right, so as you can see here, I've added it behind here. Now, I did put dimensionals as well behind the black piece. You don't have to, but, you know, I'm a bit of a dimensional queen, and I do like dimensionals on things because I just think they look really classy. And this is going to go a little bit over the edge of this vellum panel. So I'm going to wax some of these on, and just because I have them here, I'm going to use the black ones. Why not? Have you guys used the black dimensionals? Oh, look, a cat hair. Fabulous. I wonder where that could have come from. All right, so on the back here, we've got our white backs of the dimensionals. So really easy to see where they are. But when you take them off, it's like they disappear. Because they're black, they completely are hard to see. You can almost not see them until you get up close. Isn't that cool? I love them. I think they're great. All right, let's pop this on here so that the piece is just going over that edge. Looking really, really good. Now, remember earlier, I said to you that what we want to do now is line this panel up with the rectangular panel here on this side. So that means I'm going to be gluing this, but I'm only going to be gluing it on here. We don't want to glue it all over, because if we glue all over, we'll be gluing our card shut, and we don't want to do that, right? Oh, Cherie, that's fine. Never too late. We are well, thank you. So what you're going to do is you're going to line this up with that side, and I'm going to work out that right about the halfway mark here, and on that left-hand side is where I want to put my glue. All right, so I'm going to keep my Tombow just this side. If I have an imaginary halfway, let's put this just for fun on the halfway mark. I'm counting squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and a bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A little bit more. Okay, that's the halfway mark. So I can see where that line goes. And I'm going to keep my glue just to this side of the halfway mark. All right. So when I turn that over, I've only got glue on that side. Now I'm going to position this right here on top of the other rectangle, making sure that it's covered and it's straight. Yep. And I can see there's no glue poking out here, so that's great. And you just want to, because Tombow is a liquid, you can move it. If it's not quite straight, you can straighten it up, which is awesome. We love that. How about that? We're nearly finished, guys. This is a cool card. I really, really like it. All right. So the other thing that's in your packs is I gave everyone some, well, depending on, I didn't have enough. Yeah, crumpet, exactly. That's right, Joan. I didn't have enough. Originally, I was going to do these gold sequins, which are part of that Delicate Desert suite that I showed you before with that beautiful paper. But I didn't have enough to give everybody some of those. So some people have got these dry brush, what are they called? Brush metallic embellishments, and some people have got the sequins. So if you have sequins instead of these guys, that's why I ran out. So I had bought extras, and then I forgot that I bought them for this class and actually used them in a person, like a in-person face-to-face class. You should have, whichever size you have, you should have 2 large and 1 small, or 2 small and 1 large, and I've done that on purpose to try and give you 3 embellishments, can't even say it, that are not the same as each other. They're not all the same. All right, so here we go. We have a card. In this one, I didn't put as much green on, and I actually think I quite like that. I think it looks good. That's the very light bit of blending there. Looks really nice. Oh, that's what you got. Good, Cherie. Excellent. That's good. You have to go back and watch the replay because you have your supplies to play with. So that's good. All right, so this is the first card. Does anyone have any questions about this before I move on and show you some of the other cards? Okay. If you do, just ask. Okay. Any questions about that? Anything that didn't make sense? Anything that you got stumped on? Just let me know. All right, let me grab the other cards for you. I've got them here in a little bag, in a little box. All right, so I always make the cards first to decide, and sometimes I have rejects. So I'll make a card and I think, oh, I like it, but I don't like it enough to run it as a class. So I try and only use the ones I really like. So this was the first one I made here, and you can see it's got a small hello on it, and the hello was a little bit lost on that big sentiment. So then I added some this is the Sun Prints paper, and I added a row of that because it sort of took up more of the label. This is the one in the end that I did, and I used the hello from the Fragrant Flowers. Is it Favored Flowers or Fragrant Flowers? I think it's Fragrant Flowers. Yes, it is Fragrant Flowers, and so that's from that. And this is the dry embossing technique. Like I said, I have some tips in there on how to get the most out of that. That's card number 1. All right, well, this is really card number 1, isn't it? So this is the first of the alternate cards. Now the second one I did, we did heat embossing on heat embossing, and I did 2 different cards for this because I wanted to show you a couple of different ways of using heat embossing and the stained glass technique. So stained glass technique is when you heat emboss and then you color on the other side. Okay. Oh, good. I'm really glad. I'm glad. Did you end up with a card that looks pretty much like mine, Joan? I hope so. That's really good if you did. You like this one? Okay, so this one uses water-based markers and an aqua painter, and this one uses blends markers. Okay, so 2 different ways of getting the color on the back, and I talk about that in the video. So I hope that that you'll enjoy making these, and they're really, really soft. I mean, vellum is such a soft medium anyway, but yeah, I've put those 2 in there and included it in both cards in the one tutorial. Then this is actually my personal favorite card, and it's probably the simplest one, but I love this card. So I don't know if you can see, this is a vellum card. Like the card base is made out of vellum. It is quite sturdy. It stands up. And this is my favorite one. I just really liked how this turned out. Just wanted to show you that you can actually use vellum itself as a card base, but you just need to learn how to reinforce it. So this is, if anyone's thinking, what is that beautiful paper? Look, isn't it lovely? This is new paper. This is coming out. It's called Naturally Gilded, and it's coming out in the beginning of March. So you will be able to get this. If you're a demonstrator, you can get it right now. You can just go on to, it's part of the online exclusive. So Stampin' Up's trying something new this year. They're doing something called online exclusive, and what they do is every other month they want to have something for us to reach out to customers and say, hey, we've got something new. Now 3 times a year, that means we have new catalogs. So we have a January catalog that comes out with all the new yummy mini catalog stuff. We have an annual catalog that comes out in May. That's not very far away. And then we have a holiday kind of catalog that has all your, end of year, Christmas, all the things in the end of the holiday stuff. So I like all the catalogs for different reasons. Hi, Deborah. I like all the catalogs for different reasons, but in between the catalogs, so there's only 3 months a year that happens, they're going to have something coming out called online exclusives, and it's going to be like a special online release. It won't be in a catalog as such for the release. And this time, this paper, actually I've got some close by, I think. Let me see. It's so beautiful, this paper. This is part of this release, which we have in March. Okay, so it's called Naturally Gilded. There are 2 sheets of each one, and there's 2 sheets of the copper on white, which is what I've used on my card today. 2 sheets of the gold on vanilla, which you can see is really lovely, and then 2 sheets of silver on white. Okay, isn't that beautiful? Look at that. I can see lots of beautiful cards coming your way made with these beautiful papers. I think they're stunning. But this one is the one I've used today. So I thought, and this stamp, the hello, is also from the new set that's coming that matches along with this. So it's part of a number of products that are coming your way March 1st. So look out for those. Work with your demonstrator, and I'm sure she'll be happy to show you what she's got, because they're beautiful. They're really lovely. All right, that's the 3rd one. And then the last one is a different vellum technique. And this is a technique that I really, really enjoy doing because it's it speaks to my need to have cards that you just don't know what they're going to turn out like. I love that. Okay. I love it that you can, and you can see this one's completely different. All right. It turns out different every time you do it. It's called blended alcohol on vellum, and it works beautifully. You do need a couple of special products. You do need your Stampin' Blends for starters, and you need 100% alcohol for it to work really well. So all the instructions for that will be in the alternative tutorial as well. Okay, it's just a really fun technique, and I really hope you'll enjoy doing all these. I've also used, I don't know if you can see this circle, the big circle there is actually part of the, because we have a number of different vellum products. We have some just plain vellum cardstock, which is obviously something I always have. We also have these called lovely layers, and these vellums are printed, and then you can do different things. You know, you can put a greeting in the middle, sponge over the back, color over the back, different things you can do. This one, the circle, is one of the, there it is there, see? And just to note, these are a little bit smaller than card size. So for that reason, these cards are more like a US size. Actually, they're a little bit shorter and fatter because I did them to match the vellum. So just to bear that in mind. But those layers are really pretty. Those are in the annual catalogue. We also have a really nice set of what do you call it? Pattern vellum in the mini catalogue. But they're really hard to see, and people miss them. Where are they? They're down here. They're on page 46, okay? And you can barely see them, and I think it's such a shame because I've got them. They're really, really beautiful. I'm going to do some things with them probably over the next couple of lives. So I'm going to pull these out, but it's really hard to see them. Look, they almost get lost there. Very poorly shown. But this one's got like dots on it. This one's got stripes, and this one's got leaves. So really nice, but hard to see in the catalogue. And I think they're probably not doing as well as they should be doing because they're not shown to their best advantage. So, oh, good. I'm really glad that you like all these cards. So those are the cards this month, guys. Does anyone have any questions, or is there anything that you would like to know about these cards or anything else? As for a couple of people have said, what's next month's craft along? I haven't decided yet. I haven't decided what next month should be, but I would love it if last time we decided on vellum techniques because I got chatting to the girls on my Sunday night video, and that was something that they said they would like. So we kind of talked backwards and forwards, back and forth, and people decided that's what they wanted. So maybe we'll do that again. Yeah. Oh, South Africa. Hello. Hi. Nice to see you. Okay. All right. So I'm finishing up. We have our beautiful cards. Let me just put out the cards that we've just done, and I'll just show you. All these cards are going to be in the tutorial. Now, I am going to head over to, oh, did I miss a card? No, that's right. I'm going to head over to my blog right now, and I'm going to put up on the screen my blog address, okay? In the next 5 minutes, because I've just got to hit the publish button, I am going to be going over to the blog, and I'm going to be putting the blog post up that is where you need to go if you'd like to purchase these. Okay, if you bought from me last month and got a supply pack, or if you are in my team, please do not purchase them because they're going to be sent to you anyway. But if that's not you and you would like to purchase the tutorials for these cards, then you need to head to the blog, and it will be available within the next couple of minutes after I finish this video, because I have just got to hit that magic button that says go. All right, I hope everyone is well. I hope you've enjoyed this today. Thanks for staying with me. I said we'd be about an hour, and I think we're 5 minutes under, so that's not bad. I'm pretty happy about that. The address there is lhiggins.blogspot.com, and that's where you go to purchase these. If there's any other questions that anyone has, please reach out, let me know. I'm available by email, or you can contact me through my Facebook page. Very, very happy to work with anybody who would like to have questions answered, or is there anything else. One last thing, is only 4 days of celebration left. 4 days. Okay, so that means if you wish to take advantage of the joining special, there's only 4 days left for that. And this is only, that means this little guy is only available for another 4 days. This is our beautiful little boho blue mini cut and emboss machine. If you have your eye on that, you've only got 4 days left. So actually, is it 4 days or 3 days? It's not very long. You are so welcome, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will be back tomorrow night for those of you who like to watch on a Sunday night. And I will see you very soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.